It's the loudest voice of the week. Today, we're looking at the one and only Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle had a new Netflix special come out, and we had to watch it. It's about an hour and 15 minutes. Skeptical on Netflix generally, of course. We know that Chappelle has had an ongoing contract with them since his big return somewhere around 2017, 2018. He came back, signed this big deal with Netflix. So I don't know if he has this obligation, or we don't know the backstory on that. It's other than he does have a relationship. We don't know the details of that relationship, but what do you know? Time for another special. And the reason this one is important is because he had made news recently with his trip to Saudi Arabia. We had a lot of people, and we know who, the people that were, I'm so angry that Dave Chappelle would go to Saudi Arabia and do a show for people there. How dare you? Saudi Arabia, they killed a journalist. They killed a journalist. As we know, Dave Chappelle's been anti-genocide. He's been for Palestine. We know that he's had these moments, as comedians should do when they have these moments and they have large audiences, like Dave Chappelle has a very large audience. Getting on Saturday Night Live and doing a Free Palestine, connecting the dots between the devastation here. He mentioned the LA fires. He circled it back to Gaza and this destruction and just this rubble that is created, and that we need to acknowledge the pain and suffering brought on by two innocent people, by people who aren't so innocent. So this is the connector. This is Dave Chappelle's way. And we know more of his backstory now, that when he left Hollywood, there was a reason he left that we didn't understand at the time. He's explained it since. So in some senses, yes, he has this relationship with Netflix. In the other sense, he can act independently. He can make decisions for himself, and he can go on places like Saturday Night Live and say things they don't necessarily want him to say and still be okay and still not be canceled. So he's in a very, very unique category. And I would put him in the category as somebody like Mel Gibson as well, who the industry tried to cancel, tried to say, you're done. Don't ever watch this person again. Don't take him seriously. He's a horrible person. He lost his mind. He hates Jews, whatever it is, whatever the thing is. But it didn't work. So very small category. So anyways, what is sticking out about this special? Well, two particular moments are sticking out. I'm going to play the first one for you. It's kind of a setup to the second, but we're going to discuss it. And he only took 2 moments. We watched the whole thing. There's not really anything else in there except these 2 moments. So he's very, very particular and careful and exact about what he's doing. He certainly has this thing worked out in advance. He doesn't ad lib. He knows exactly what he's doing. This is the first moment we wanted you guys to see, because in this one, he calls out a friend of his, used to be friends, a comedian known as Bill Maher. And as you guys know, Bill Maher has become and shown his face as one of the biggest Zionists in Hollywood. And he's a self-described atheist, but atheists can make very, very, very disgusting Zionists, because for some reason they hate religion, but nothing's as bad as Islam and Muslim. That's the worst. That's the worst. So he'll tolerate Christianity. He's got some weird loyalty to Israel, but he will tell you, however bad you think it is in these religions, there's nothing worse than those horrible Muslim Islam people that want to destroy America. Well, Dave Chappelle calls him out by name. Here we go.
And Bill Maher, the famous comedian, I've known Bill since I was like 18, 19 years old, and I've never said this publicly, but fuck that guy. I'm so fucking tired of this little smug, cracker-ass commentary.
And what he's referring to specifically is his constant need to defend all of our military actions, specifically in the Middle East, and excuse everything. That's what Bill Maher does. That's what he does. And this is what Dave Chappelle is referring to. And what he's going to go on to talk about is Bill Maher was one of the biggest voices against Dave Chappelle. How dare he go to Saudi Arabia? How dare he perform for people over there? They don't deserve comedy.
These motherfuckers act like because I did a comedy festival in Saudi Arabia, I somehow betrayed my principles. Well, no, I know I didn't. I know. No. No, come on, everybody, let me do this. And I'm sure, I know, all right, now everybody calm down. No, I'm sure I'm right. First of all, what did they say? They said, well, Saudi Arabia killed a journalist, and rest in peace, Jamal Khashoggi. I'm sorry that he got murdered in such a heinous fashion, but.
And that's what they were referring to. This one journalist that was beheaded, and it was awful. One journalist got murdered, and we didn't shun them, the leadership of Saudi Arabia. Biden and Trump have both been buddy with them. That's how it works. Both parties. It's not a unique Trump thing. It's not a unique Biden thing. Both of them have been total buddy with Saudi Arabia, knowing that what they did to one journalist. But here's where Dave Chappelle goes in for the kill. Here we go.
No buts, like, period. And also, I mean, look, bro, Israel's killed 240 journalists in the last 3 months. So I didn't know y'all was still counting.
I didn't know you all was still counting. Well timed, well delivered, very good. And having an ability to do this on such a large stage. Netflix is a large stage, but his following is massively so large. So people who don't even necessarily watch Netflix will see this, and that's because of social media. You don't have to have Netflix to see this, that he did this, and he's saying 240 journalists, and we don't do anything about it. And you want to make some big thing about one journalist, and he said him by name, so it's very good. It's very well thought out, well timed. And mentioning Bill Maher is a great move, because Bill Maher also has a very large audience, and if he's calling him out by name and saying he used to be a friend, I've known him for many years, but F him for behaving this way. Now more people are going to be paying attention to Bill Maher, and I don't think Dave minds drawing some more audience over to his HBO show. That's fine. That's fine. Guess what's going to happen? Those people that don't know what Bill Maher's up to, they're going to find out, and Bill Maher's going to have more people calling his ass out for his Islamophobia and his Zionism, it's absolutely disgusting that Bill Maher cannot acknowledge what we are doing in Gaza, what we're doing in Palestine, what Israel is doing around the globe, and on our dime. He won't acknowledge it. Dave's calling out. So good for him for doing this. Now, look, real quick about the Saudi Arabia thing. There's also some commotion about Dave saying that and he said it in the special. You guys can watch it. There was a moment where he talked about that there's more freedom in Saudi Arabia than there is here, and what he was referring to was the fact that he can, for him as an American, that would be true, because you can go to Saudi Arabia and you can make fun of things here and get away with it, because people will laugh, and you don't have to feel like you're going to be canceled. But you get canceled here, obviously. But the problem with that idea is that, also in Saudi Arabia, they're protective of their government and their their structure. You're not. So he had to sign a thing saying he won't make fun of anyone there, which he had to do. So he left that part out, but that's okay, because he didn't go over there to make fun of Saudi Arabia. He went over there to talk about his experience and the stuff he's been through and stuff that he says on a stage here. And we saw him make jokes about trans a few years ago. He almost lost his entire career again for a second time. He almost lost his career. And that was here. So the freedom of speech, the freedom of entertainment, not so protected in either parts of these of the hemisphere here. But he can go to Saudi Arabia and say the things he's saying. I feel more comfortable there than here. So what does that mean for the Netflix special? What does that mean? That means that this special was, in my opinion, it was kind of watered down. The loudest voice is going to go to him, because I'm going to play you guys the thing he ended on, which is probably the best moment. It's a mic drop. It literally is a mic drop moment. and it needs to be seen. And I'm going to show that to you guys in a second. But I will say this, as I described earlier, Dave Chappelle is very calculated. He's very careful. And an hour and 15 minute special, he's not getting into things that he should have been getting into. He kind of dismissed Charlie Kirk a little bit. He did that. Why? I don't think he's looked into it. I think he's trying to make some rule like, hey, don't, you have every right to ask questions, which is good. He's saying this. Obviously, you got to say this. Ask questions, but don't say anything conclusive until you know 100%, because that's not cool. So he was kind of talking at people that were coming up with ideas about what they think the information that wasn't being told to us. So he was kind of punching down in those parts, kind of. But I don't think he fully understands the Charlie Kirk situation. I don't think he's looked into it. I think Dave Chappelle needs some time. That's the thing about Dave Chappelle. He needs time. And, you know, I'm not saying this in a bad way. I think that the things he's been through, he needs time to figure out how to articulate. And, you know, people like Caitlin Johnstone are going to say, well, that's not courageous. You got to be able to say the thing now. If you wait, then you're on the right side of history, but you were late, and that's a problem. And there's a lot of people that agree with that. I agree with that too. But in the sense of Dave Chappelle, particularly, he has a track record of getting there. He has that track record. When he came back from his hiatus, he left. You remember he left in 2004. He didn't come back until 2016, 17, 18. It was a long time, and he had nothing to say until it was time to talk about it. He did talk about it. He told us what happened, and it was an incredibly insane story. And other people have vouched for that story as well. So I think that there is a history there of him getting to the goal. I hope he looks at Charlie Kirk again. Go watch, if you guys have Netflix, you know, go watch it. If you guys have an hour to kill, go watch it. But you'll notice he doesn't know what's really happening. He was making fun of the comparisons between Charlie Kirk and Martin Luther King, not fully understanding that the comparison wasn't the fact that it was a literal representation of a civil rights leader. That's not the comparison. The comparison is it's a guy with a following that the government is keeping their eye on because that following is very impressive. They're impressionable of this person, so they keep an eye on them. What Martin Luther King had happen is he started to change his mind about American imperialism, about our military industrial complex. And they didn't want him to do that. They wanted him to stay in his lane, which was civil rights. So Dave Chappelle misses that comparison. And I get it because he hasn't looked at it yet. So I hope he does look at it. I kind of cringed when he was mocking that part of it because that's not the point. You say Charlie Kirk is Martin Luther King in the sense that they tried to keep him in his lane, but he said, wait, no, I have more questions. And then he predicted his own death, which is what Martin Luther King did as well. That's a comparison. Chappelle will get there. He'll get there. It's all good. It's all good. We're rooting for you. But make no mistake, he used this opportunity. He's very particular, very precise. And man, what a way to go out. What a way to punch it at the end. We call these things mic drop moments. And there's a reason, because he's going to show you why it's called a mic drop moment, figuratively and literally. Take it away, Dave Chappelle, ending that Netflix special. Your loudest voice of the week. Here we go. Mic drop moment.
Fear that I have for myself that I need you to protect me from is co-option. My voice has become more powerful than I intended it to be. And I cannot let these niggas do me like Charlie Kirk, or even worse than that. What if these niggas trip me up somehow, co-opt me, and then make me say the things that they want me to say? Well, we can't have that. So, just in case, we need a code. It's gotta be something that I can say so that if I say it, you know that these niggas got me. And don't listen to nothing that I say after I say those words. But don't tell anybody what it is, but it's gotta be something that, you know what I mean, that I would never say. Oh, I know what the code is. The code word is, I stand with Israel. Thank you very much, and good night.
Mic drop, baby. Mic drop. Genius to do that. Genius. Genius. This is going around everywhere. And what do you say back to that? How do you respond to that if you're somebody trying to defend Israel, defend that that mechanism of control and keeping people in their lane? And when you see people say things, you're like, that doesn't sound right. That's a real thing. That's what he's talking about there. So if you see something, you hear me say something that doesn't sound right, this is the code word. Genius, absolutely genius. This is being shared right now. Again, you don't have to be a subscriber to Netflix to see this. He's counting on that, and it's happening. And you can't, once it goes viral, you can't do anything about it. And that's why it wasn't even a question when I first saw this. There's no way we're not giving Dave Chappelle this week's and the final one of 2025. Dave Chappelle is getting the loudest voice of the week.